the Hunger Games, propaganda plays a massive role in shaping public perception, controlling populations, and fueling rebellion. Both the oppressive capital and the revolutionary District 13 use a variety of propaganda techniques. So let's have a look at what they use and how they use them. So the first one we're going to cover is one that we're probably most familiar with, and that is the Mockingjay. So this becomes a powerful symbol of resistance. Initially it was unintended, with Katniss just wearing her Mockingjay pin. But then she became the Mockingjay, which was a real rallying point for the rebellion. And then let's look at Peeta and Katniss's star-crossed lovers narrative. So this was used to humanise the Hunger Games. It was to make them more entertaining, but it was later repurposed by the rebels to invoke empathy and unity. Both the capital and the District 13 like to manipulate emotions. The capital glamorises the Hunger Games, focusing on the pageantry to distract from the brutality. District 13 broadcasts emotionally charged propos or propaganda videos, including scenes of bombings and suffering to stir outrage and support for the rebellion. The capital tightly controls the media, distorting the truth and only showing what supports its authority. Now, if you've read Sunrise on the Reaping, it's a very key theme that the district will just show you what it wants you to see. Anything that makes them not look good, they cut out. But District 13 also edits and cuts its footage carefully when it stages its propos, suggesting a calculated use of propaganda despite their moral stance against the capital. So let's look now a bit more at the hero and villain framing. So Katniss is constructed as a hero by District 13 to inspire others, even when we know that she herself is quite reluctant to do that. She doesn't want to be the mouthpiece. She doesn't seem interested, does she? And President Snow is vilified by the rebellion, whilst President Coin presents herself as a saviour, although she too used manipulative tactics. So these are two things from the rebellion side, but then if we actually look at the capital side, the capital paint Katniss and Coin as the villains, and I'm sure that Snow is painted as a hero trying to keep the capital safe. You know, he lets the children come in and he stages all these traps and stuff so that people trying to get into the capital, it's a lot harder for them. So again, how they present the same person, there'll be a villain or a hero depending on what side of the coin they sit, pardon the pun. Simple, repeatable phrases like "fire is catching" or "if we burn, you burn with us" are used to mobilise support and to stick in people's minds. It's a campaign that you see on TV a lot with ads. If there's a catchy jingle, if there is something that is really, you know, every time you watch it, you're going to get it stuck in your head. You're never going to forget that particular product. It's the same with this. You will hear that phrase. It will stick in people's minds and it's going to be empowering. It's going to make you want to pick up arms and support the District 13. Now, moving on to fear and intimidation. So the capital's televised Hunger Games themselves are a form of propaganda. It's a reminder of the capital's power and the cost of rebellion. It's basically saying, this is what happened last time. What's going to happen if this happens? You know, if you rebel again, what will happen next? Public executions and punishments are also used to instill fear. We know in Catching Fire that there were executions that were happening for people using the Mockingjay sign. I think it was that people who used Katniss's hairstyle or something like that were also going to be punished. And I think Snow's granddaughter loved that hairstyle. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know if I'm making that up in my mind, but I'm pretty sure that was part of it. Katniss and Peeta are then used as celebrities to push narratives, and this again happens on both sides. The capital used them as the star-crossed lovers of, you know, they were going to die together in the arena, but love saved them and look at them now. And then District 13 are using them as they are separated, we need to get these loves back together. You know, it's a tale as old as time, it's true love. When they actually get Peter back, and then Peter goes out with them back to the capital, and there's a bit where Katniss is kissing him. All that's filmed, I believe, and that is all used as a narrative to make people want to fight for this love, to let these people be together. And it's quite disgusting, really, that something so serious and private and intimate is being used as propaganda. Their authentic reactions, the way that they react to each other, are manipulated to appear scripted, fake, or their actual emotions are exploited for political advances. You know, Coin and Snow are actually no better than each other when it comes to the treatment of Peter and Katniss and the propos and all this propaganda stuff anyway. So the series explores how even those fighting for justice can fall into manipulative practices, showing that propaganda is not exclusive to villains, it is a tool, and depending how you use it, depends on the morality behind it. One of the clearest examples of propaganda in the Hunger Games series is when Katniss fills a propo for District 13 after witnessing the Capitol's bombing of a hospital in District 8. So Katniss is obviously furious, she's grieving, she was just in there, she's just met all of these people, and her raw response came out. And that was actually used to generate anger and empathy among the viewers. Again, it's that raise your arms type thing. She's shown standing among the rubble with her Mockingjay suit, her bow in her hand, becoming the visual embodiment of the rebellion. And you'll remember from the film, I think she has the planes go over her, so it's very dramatic. It's very, come and fight for me, or come and fight with me. This is what the Capitol are doing. And after the bombing, that's when she turns to the camera and delivers, if you burn, or if we burn, you burn with us. The phrase actually becomes a rallying cry, and it's repeated consistently through the resistance efforts. So she's constructed as a hero from District 13's perspective. So it frames Katniss as brave, justice-driven, and even though, in reality, her actions are spontaneous, they are raw, knee-jerk reactions, they're not scripted. So this scene is deliberately edited and broadcast across the districts to inspire rebellion and delegitimize the Capitol's rule. It's emotionally charged, it's visually striking, and it's symbolically loaded, which makes it highly effective. The Capitol's response to Katniss's hospital propo is a textbook example of counter-propaganda, aimed at undermining her credibility and reasserting Capitol authority. So let's have a look at that one. Let's see how the Capitol responded. So after Katniss gave her powerful if we burn, you burn with us line, momentum spread across the districts. President Snow, as we know, rallied back, returned with his own propo. And this was carefully crafted to maintain control and to frame the rebellion as dangerous and misguided. So Snow emphasises the destructive consequences of rebellion. He warns that continued resistance will actually lead to suffering and death and not freedom. Scenes of peacekeepers violently suppressing uprisings are included, both to scare the viewers and also to prove that resistance is actually futile. It's not going to get you anywhere, it's just going to get you hurt or worse. Katniss is then portrayed as a terrorist who brings destruction, chaos and death wherever she goes. The Capitol shows doctored or selectively edited clips to suggest that actually she is causing more harm than good. They're taking out the truth and just keeping those bits together that just make it look a lot worse than it actually was. And, you know, anything I guess that incriminates them, they take out. So how does Snow portray himself? So he portrays himself as calm, rational and in control. He wants to be presented as the protector of peace and order. He speaks in a fatherly, composed tone, in contrast to Katniss's raw anger, her real emotion, reinforce the image of the capital as being very civilised. In one of the most manipulative tactics, Peter is used in capital broadcasts. He appears groomed and frightened, pleading with Katniss to stop fighting. Now this is a psychological tactic and it's meant to do a couple of things. So it's meant to undermine Katniss's resolve and it's meant to confuse the public. Is Peter betraying her? Is he trying to save her? No one's quite sure. But it also, probably the biggest one, the biggest impact to Katniss, is it's to show that the capital still has control over her closest ally. They are in control of Peter, and when they get Peter back, we see just how much damage they've caused, and it obviously takes Katniss a long time to be able to undo some of that damage and for Peter to remember who really is the villain here. So let's just do a quick overall view of the purpose of the capital's propaganda. So it's to undermine the rebellion by presenting it as violent and doomed. It's to break the emotional and symbolic power of the Mockingjay, but it's also to divide resistance from within by casting doubt on Peter and Katniss's unity. The ongoing propaganda war is central to Mockingjay, where both sides battle not just with weapons, but with media, symbols and stories. And that, guys, in a nutshell, is how propaganda is used in the Hunger Games series. It's really interesting because, you know, when you sit back, or when you're watching it rather, or reading it, you know, Snow's the villain, you see all this bad stuff that he's doing, of course. But then when you step back and look at the propaganda from both sides, you compare it, Coin and Snow are basically doing the same thing. They're just trying to, well, basically doing the same thing, but the opposite message. So really, it does come back to that moral question. They're using propaganda as a tool, but morally, are they really doing any good? Is it really ethically right that they're doing this? Who knows? But you guys, let me know what you think in the comments. If you think of any other examples of where propaganda was used in any of the books or any scenes in the movies, I'll be really interested to hear your thoughts. But until next time, guys, you take care.